Hey everyone, before we dive in, hit that subscribe button to join the channel and never miss a story. I placed my palm over my heart, sensing the uneven thumping that had turned into my everyday shadow. At just 28, my heart was giving out. Not in some over-the-top way, not with the big dramatic fall that my relatives figured counted as a true health crisis, but gradually, silently, like a lamp fading bit by bit until the bulb finally dies. Sophia, we have to chat about Thanksgiving, my mom mentioned on the call, her tone holding that special kind of strained tolerance she saved for talks she didn't want to have. Your cousin Lily is revealing her engagement. Her fiancé's relatives will join us. Really influential folks. His dad serves on the hospital board alongside your Aunt Laura. I'll show up, I replied, fiddling with my pill planner. 3 weeks after my post-op check-in. 6 months waiting for a transplant. My heart doctor had spelled it out plainly. I was fortunate my issue was spotted in time. Fortunate I was young enough and fit enough otherwise to qualify well. Fortunate the thing is, Mom went on, Laura pointed out you've been bringing up some operation at the holiday meal. Sophia dear, this needs to focus on Lily. She's at last tying the knot with a thriving guy. Could you simply avoid talking about health matters? It puts people on edge. I gazed at my pill planner. For separate drugs to hold my weakening heart together as I awaited a donor. Avoid talking about it. You know your tendencies. It all turns into your story and your problems. Laura claims most of what stresses you is likely just nerves. She ought to know. She oversees a whole ER unit. Aunt Laura, head of emergency operations at City General Hospital. The family's go-to-health expert, the one whose views silenced everyone else's, the one who last Thanksgiving told me I seemed okay and to quit chasing sympathy. I have dilated cardiomyopathy. Mom, I'm waiting for a transplant. Look, that's precisely my point. All these fancy doctor words to amp up the drama. Laura looked over your files. She can see it all at City General. She said your issue is handled with pills. The operation you keep referencing is elective. So my heart transplant was elective. Just attend the meal, stay cheerful, and give Lily her spotlight. Can you manage that for your cousin? I could have pushed back. Could have clarified once more that handled with pills meant staying alive until a donor appeared. Could have described the exhaustion, the shortness of breath, the reality that my own heart would end me without help. Instead, I answered, I'll show up. Because amid the mess of heart specialist visits and insurance approvals and transplant team discussions, I'd quit hoping my relatives would get it. They caught glimpses of me at gatherings, stabilized on drugs, appearing mostly fine. They missed the 3 a.m. terror when my heartbeat went wild. They missed the talks on death odds and after-transplant success rates. They trusted Aunt Laura, poised and commanding in her work attire, assuring them I was all right. Thanksgiving came with the biting chill of late November. My mom's home glowed with cozy lights, the aroma of turkey, and feeling welcoming folks at the entrance. I'd swallowed my midday pills in the car, allowing an extra quarter hour for the energy boosters to take effect before braving the family crowd. Lily greeted me at the door, glowing in a high-end outfit that likely exceeded my monthly drug costs. Sophia, you arrived. Come say hi to Richard's folks. They're eager to meet the group. The living room buzzed with people, distant relatives grouped in their typical spots. The high-achieving brothers and sisters swapping tales of getaway properties. The cousins chatting about raises and perks. The aunts and uncles dominating talks with their latest wins. And right in the middle, like royalty on her seat, lounged Aunt Laura in relaxed where that still screamed control. Sophia, she boomed, her words cutting through the chatter. How's your health? Still fretting over that heart issue. Talks hushed. I shifted my way. I'm coping, I responded cautiously. Good to hear. You know, I checked your file again last week. Out of professional respect to your heart doc. Your pump rate is holding steady on meds. All this chatter about transplants and procedures, it's far more choice-based than pressing. We deal with real life or death heart cases in the ER daily. You're not in that category. Richard's dad, polished in a pricey knit, nodded in agreement. Aunt Laura had been sharing with him. I figured that his son's cousin was somewhat of a health warrior. Laura's been filling us in on the genuine emergencies at City General. Richard's mom chimed in, her grin kind, but pitying. It has to be tough for you, sweetie, handling wellness worries. Ever thought about counseling? I sensed the usual wave of embarrassment rising to my face. Across the space, relatives swapped those familiar looks. Poor Sophia, always turning tiny issues into huge deals. Actually, a fresh voice broke through the whispers. I'd love to learn more details on Sophia's situation. A lady I didn't know stood by the hearth around mid-50s, with keen gaze and a calm sense of command. She had on a basic gown and a tiny badge on her collar, the sort of understated item that signaled importance to insiders. "Pardon me," Lily said. Her host grin locked in. "I don't believe we've been introduced. Dr. Catherine Ellis. I'm Richard's godmother. I arrived from Johns Hopkins today. He preferred no big deal." She fixed those keen eyes on me. "Sophia, right? Your aunt noted you're facing a heart problem?" Aunt Laura perked up, her work smile kicking in. "Nothing major. Dilated cardiomyopathy, controlled with drugs. Sophia often blows things out of proportion. In ER work, we train to separate real crises from worry-fueled ones." "I see." Dr. Ellis's face stayed neutral. "And you've examined her file yourself. I can view all records at City General. Professional favor. Interesting. Without patient approval for release." The room grew dead quiet. Aunt Laura's grin wavered. "As head of emergency ops and a relative, I hold specific rights on family health data to guarantee proper attention." "Sophia," Dr. Ellis said, facing me directly, "what's your latest pump rate?" The query lingered. Aunt Laura fidgeted. 22%. I answered softly. "Dropped from 31 half a year back." Dr. Ellis's gaze sharpened. "And you're queued for transplant. Level 2 on the national network." "I've waited 6 months. My transplant liaison says your transplant liaison," Aunt Laura cut in with a strained chuckle, "is playing it too safe. You're steady. The procedure isn't pressing." "A 22% pump rate," Dr. Ellis stated. Her words sharp as a blade, indicates major heart weakness. Level 2 Q signifies big limits on daily life. And you're labeling this, what did you call it? Choice-based. I meant the schedule is adjustable. She's not in crisis. I lead the heart transplant panel at Johns Hopkins, Dr. Ellis replied, her tone even but with a bite that could slice through. I assess hundreds of transplant files yearly. A 22% rate in a 28-year-old means critical pump failure. Sans transplant, 5-year survival hovers around 50%. That's not choice surgery. That's essential to save a life. The room fell utterly hushed. Richard's dad turned ashen. Lily's grin stuck on her face. Aunt Laura rose, her voice shifting to the commanding style that typically wrapped up family health debates. "With respect, Dr. Ellis, ER experience offers me a wider view on real urgency. ER work," Dr. Ellis broke in, "equips you for sudden crisis control. Ongoing heart weakness care and transplant expertise are completely separate fields. Fields you're not qualified in." She addressed the whole room, her words reaching everywhere. Everyone needs to grasp this plainly. Sophia is fading gradually, but surely her heart is breaking down. She's on the countrywide transplant queue not for precaution, not as a maybe procedure, but because without a fresh heart, she'll pass away. Likely in 5 years, maybe far sooner if things worsen. My mom had paled. Lily's palm covered her lips. Moreover, Dr. Ellis went on, her eyes back on Aunt Laura, pulling a patient's file without proper okay. Even her relatives breaks major privacy rules. Sharing those details with others in the family sans patient approval, that's cause for punishment, risk of losing your practice rights, and potential lawsuits. Aunt Laura dropped into her seat. I aim to assist, to stop Sophia from stressing needlessly. You aim to hold onto your spot as the family's health guru, Dr. Ellis said, her voice nearly soft now, which oddly stung more. And by doing that, you breached patient secrecy, pushed wrong health info, and downplayed a truly deadly issue. You led this family to think their daughter, their niece, their cousin was overstating a small worry when she's actually in heart failure. She drew out her phone, tapping quickly before eyeing Aunt Laura again. I serve on the ethics panel for City General Hospital. Our next quarterly session is soon. I think your handling of Sophia's file demands quick review. The Thanksgiving spread went on, but the mood had cracked like fragile glass. Dr. Ellis took a spot next to me, posing soft queries on my heart team, my signs, my transplant liaison's take. Richard's relatives, instead of the odd crowd my family wanted to impress, stared at Aunt Laura with clear dismay. Lily's engagement reveal occurred, but the joy rang empty. Her fiancé's folks departed soon. Richard's dad tossing a sharp remark on family principles and health morals that made his view of Aunt Laura's actions crystal clear. My mom caught me in the kitchen while I readied to head out. Sophia, I had no idea. Laura said whatever kept her in charge. I replied, neatly wrapping leftover turkey I'd hardly eaten. And you all bought it because she has the fancy title and I'm the low-key one who avoids drama. We should have paid attention. We should have. Her words cracked. I informed you several times. I mentioned the transplant queue. I shared my pump rate. I offered my heart doc's contact so you could verify and grasp. You picked to trust Aunt Laura because it was simpler than facing a real problem. I departed as the sun dipped, the echo of my mom's sobs trailing me to the car. The City General Hospital ethics probe advanced fast. Dr. Ellis's role added clout, but the proof stood strong alone. Aunt Laura had pulled my files 17 times in the last year without permission. She talked my situation with various staff, relatives, pals, all privacy breaches. Her suspension hit 3 days post-Thanksgiving. The official probe notice came a week on. By Christmas, she'd quit to dodge a complete board scrutiny that probably would have stripped her license. My phone lit up with family texts. Some sorry, some mad. How could I destroy Laura's job? Some puzzled. When did my issue turn critical? A handful, truly few, showed real care. How to assist? I replied to zero. Instead, I sat in my heart doc's office reviewing my dropping pump rate and chances of bumping to level 1B on the transplant queue. Your backup network matters, Dr. Harlan noted kindly. Got folks for this? Family? Buddies? I recalled Dr. Ellis, who'd rung twice to see how I was and linked me to transplant patient groups. I thought of my work team at the tech firm who'd subtly set up remote options. I considered my nearby residents who'd begun dropping off dinners after Lily seemingly spread the Thanksgiving events to much of the area. I'm creating one, I said. A genuine one. Folks who truly hear me. My phone buzzed once more. Another note from the family chat. This from my mom. Family gathering this weekend to figure support for you. Laura's out. Please join. We aim to improve. I eyed the text a long while, then glanced at Dr. Harlan. Mind if I mull it over? Absolutely. But Sophia. She leaned in, face earnest. You decide your family ties from here. You're in control now. Remember that. I headed home as the winter sun vanished early, painting the sky in orange and purple hues. My heart skipped unevenly inside, the worn muscle fighting its core task. But my phone overflowed with welcomes from the transplant group. My inbox held a message from Dr. Ellis connecting me to a local transplant survivor eager to chat. Somewhere out there, perhaps tonight, perhaps in months, my future heart pulsed in another's body. When the alert arrived, when the transplant occurred, I knew precisely who'd fill the waiting area. And it wouldn't include the relatives who'd dubbed my failing heart elective. It'd be those who'd figured out how to really listen. 3 months on, my phone rang at 2 a.m. The transplant liaison's voice stayed steady, expert. We've got a heart. I placed 3 calls from the ambulance. Dr. Ellis picked up instantly. My neighbor Mike arrived at the hospital pre-op. My colleague Jenna delivered a pack of must-haves my mom never considered asking for. The family chat blew up with texts once news spread. Questions on the hospital, the doctor. Why no earlier heads up? I powered off my phone. When I stirred 18 hours later, a fresh heart thumping firm and regular in my chest. The initial face I spotted was Dr. Ellis's. Behind her waited the ones who'd truly appeared. Not with doctor views or brush-offs, but with gifts. My mom showed at the door 2 days after surgery, tears flowing. I allowed her to remain, but Aunt Laura's contact stayed blocked.